Welcome to this recorded version of the Effective Communications Plan workshop. This is the outline of things that we're going to look at throughout this few-minute session. So what is a communications plan? A communications plan, it might be a separate document, or it might also sit separately but alongside your engagement plan. And this will most likely just depend on the size and the scale of the project. Much larger projects are likely to have a separate communications plan which will span much greater depth. What we're going to focus on are communications about the project as a whole, but you will also have communications that are integrated with your engagement plan and communications that are integrated with your behaviour change plan. It's really important for your project to have transparent communication with your community. It enables a two-way dialogue, a conversation to build. It creates trust, buy-in, respect, and it involves the community, much like their engagement work. It just also can sow the seeds for behaviour change work later down the line as well. So where it sits in the active travel framework is that we live in communities that are inclusive, empowered, resilient and safe. We have the opportunity to feed into and be a part of that inclusive nature by having that communication and a two-way dialogue that is safe and open to us. It ultimately also feeds into the 2030 vision for active travel around creating options for people to select active travel for the short everyday journeys. So where do we start? We start by defining the communication objectives, thinking about who you want to reach and what do you want to say to them. So to have an effective plan, these are the two things you really have to consider. So you'll see in the example of the objective at the bottom of the page, by the end of stage 1, all key stakeholders, including protected characteristic groups, will be aware of the project, know where to source further information and understand the next phase of involvement. And this will guide us in creating that communications plan that reaches audiences with a message and an objective that we need to fulfill. So we need to look and find out which communication methods are best for our stakeholders. So looking at your stakeholder list and looking at the groupings in your matrix, you can start to define which communication channel method is going to be most appropriate for each audience. So in the example here, perhaps selecting social media for young people, but we might use the project website more heavily for other groups. And here I've listed the Housing Association as an example. We're going to have to consider the frequency per stakeholder group as well, and how often we communicate with them. And some audiences will want to be kept more up to date than others, and this may tie into your engagement work as well. We also have to bear in mind that some of our audiences have accessibility needs. So working this into our communication can really help that transparent communication and for the feeling of people being involved in the project. So considering the use of subtitles, easy read guidance, or British Sign Language. In these examples, we can see that our media choices can really help us select and speak to certain audiences. So for social media here, we've got over 65s are predominantly using Facebook. 25 to 34-year-olds are the biggest users of Facebook, but that's also evenly split with Instagram. Meanwhile, we'll find the 13 to 17-year-olds on YouTube and TikTok. In addition to that, we want to consider having a variety of different channels used for each audience. People on average need between 7 and 20 opportunities to see and hear a message before they're aware of it and then can act on it. So in this example, we've got the parents of school children, and we've put a letter home, we've put some communications in the local press, some posts on the parent council social media, and we've put a direct mail drop to their door as well. You can see some of the example channels listed here. Some of the bigger channels like TV, billboards and bus shelters could work really well for communicating to a wide range of people, but they're very expensive. So they're probably more suited to larger scale projects, very high profile projects. The majority of projects are probably going to make strong use of social media, the project website, print and press media, and perhaps some posters or digital marketing. You could also even consider bollard or lamppost sleeves as well. So what we want to do is match up our audiences with the media that they already consume, where we can already find them and reach them. So we can get a sense and find some data using the media packs for different publications. These can be found perhaps on their website or by contacting them. You'll also find social media information online. We're also going to want to give consideration to when and how often we communicate with our different audiences. We're going to look to our key milestones like project launch, funding announcements, design, construction, opening, and also tying in with our engagement activity and behaviour change work. However, if we only left the communication to the milestones, these actually might be quite far apart, and it means that there'll be all that lost time in between, where our community could feel that the project is stalled, nothing is happening, their input through the engagement phase perhaps has not been listened to, and they could start to have some negative feelings towards our project. We want to continue to build a conversation, build that community, have people feeling involved in the project. So communicating frequently with clear messaging to build that dialogue will really aid the community buy-in. Also, some media channels and some audiences might require more frequent updating than others. The likes of social media is going to be updated on a daily basis, whereas a project website might be weekly, monthly, or even less. So the messages you communicate out to your audience, they should align with your objectives. You want to tailor them to the audience so they resonate with them, they include a call to action, and they have that connection with them. They should be consistent as well across the different channels and across the different audiences, and be appropriate for the channel. For instance, you might get away with some more humour on social media, but it might not be appropriate on your website. So by using this combination of the design, the message, channel, and frequency, it all comes together to attract that conversation and build that two-way dialogue. You want to consider what is appealing to your audience, what connects with them, what will they buy into, and what will make them see your communications. Adapting your language and tone, as I say, depending on your audience or the channel itself. But always bearing in mind your objective and the project as a whole, and what ties that all together. The Sustrans communications requirements are that you use the logos as per the brand guidance. And that can be found on the Sustrans Showcase website, and the link is available here for you as well. Please do acknowledge the funders, and please do share all your draft public-facing materials with the Sustrans Communications Department. They can help support you with that element of your work. By sharing your comms plans with us, as well as all draft public-facing materials, we can offer support and guidance to help you speak to your audiences in the way that you need. We want to evaluate our communications and to ensure that what we're doing is resonating with our audiences in the right way. You will already be evaluating the success of your project, your engagement work, and your behaviour change work, and looking at all the deliverables across the board. But when we come to the communications, we really want to focus on them to see if we are speaking to the right people in the right way at the right time. So we can do this by monitoring the number of people responding, the number of people that are responding to the call of action, as in turning up to an event perhaps, or sending in some feedback. And we can also look at social media insights and perhaps Google Analytics as well. So in summary, the communications to consider are across three areas of your project. The project as a whole, that general communications work, the engagement activity itself and the specific opportunities for people to be a part of the project and input their thoughts and ideas, and the behaviour change activities as well, and what it is you're wanting to communicate to those people that are partaking in those activities and interventions. Begin by defining your objectives and understanding who you're speaking to and where to find them and what media they normally consume. Select the most appropriate channels for your audiences and for your project, and think about how often and when you're going to speak to them, not forgetting key milestones and also the spaces in between. Design messages that connect and resonate with your audiences, but also speak to your project and fulfill your objectives. And don't forget to evaluate. Ensure that your communication is working. Monitor and change as necessary. Thank you very much, I hope that was helpful for you, and please do feel free to get in touch.